The trend of declining youth tobacco use has reversed with the rise in vaping and flavored products. Now, according to the Pioneer Press, 5 million kids in the United States are addicted to e-cigarettes. Joining me to talk about legislation with bipartisan support to curb youth access to tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, is Senator Carla Nelson. Welcome.
Great to be here, Shannon.
According to Clearway, Minnesota, 53 Minnesota cities and counties have already raised the age to purchase tobacco products to age 21. Why is it time to take the initiative statewide?
Well, clearly, this is the will of the people, and this is how many initiatives start. But we're at the point, even those who might not have supported T21 in the past, we're at the point now, we're at that tipping point where we need that statewide uniform minimum age to purchase tobacco, just like we have for alcohol, which is age 21. And so rather than a patchwork of different minimum ages to purchase tobacco, it is time for that statewide age of 21.
This has become a national issue with legislation being promoted in many states, and to big tobacco companies and e-cigarette maker Juul are in support. Is this action a good step in the right direction, considering that you have big tobacco on board?
Well, certainly, I'm not going to try and discern what their motivations may be. There's been a lot of discussion about that. But I will say everyone should be on board when it comes to tobacco 21 as a minimum age, T21. The Department of Defense is concerned about troop readiness. So there is great support amongst all sectors for tobacco 21. And if Juul wants to step on, and they've said they support T21, that's a step in the right direction.
I'd like to turn to vaping because it's been in the news quite a bit lately. According to the Associated Press, more than 2,000 Americans have gotten sick from vaping since March. At least 40 people have died, and there were 3 deaths in Minnesota. Many of these injuries seem to stem from vaping THC, which is the high-inducing part of the marijuana plant, which is illegal in Minnesota. But is your effort to prevent vaping directed at both legal and illegal?
Yes, all of vaping is what I am looking at, removing the kid-friendly flavors from all vapes. And that includes, obviously, legal, illegal. And the reason for that is I think the manufacturers have done just an unthinkable thing here in combining kid-friendly flavors with high nicotine products together and then marketing those to young adolescents who are in the most vulnerable time for addictions to take place. So yes, I believe all of these vape products, one, should not have flavors. They should not have
flavors at all.
No kid-friendly flavors.
So no strawberry milk, strawberry lemonade, cotton candy.
All of those things. And let me just say, I visited with the owner of one of our larger vape shops in my district, and I asked him about these flavors. I said, President Trump has talked about removing flavors from vapes, and what do you think about that? Without skipping a beat, he said, if there are no flavored vapes, there will be no kids vaping. I think that's a telling statement from someone in the industry. So getting rid of those kid-friendly vape flavors is a huge step in preventing vaping illnesses.
Now, I've read, and you mentioned this in a recent press conference, that these Juul pods, these flavored vape pods, contain as much nicotine as an entire pack of cigarettes. And nicotine is highly addictive. So what is the educational effort that is part of your bill? Because I've read that kids don't really understand what they're doing.
Yes, and that is one of the challenges here is many kids who despised smoking. As you know, we'd seen a downturn in smoking. Few kids smoked. It was rather looked at in a disgusting light. But now this new slick juuling has come along, and kids who despise smoking have found themselves addicted to vaping because little did they know that the cotton candy flavor they were vaping had such powerful nicotine impacts. That's why we're really looking at also doing the Vaping Education and Prevention Act in our schools. And it's just a sad, there's a whole new generation of young kids addicted to nicotine, and many of them didn't even know it was happening.
So one of the criticisms of vaping, as you just mentioned, is how extremely addictive inhaling the product is. Do you fear, though, that by prohibiting now that we have addicted young people, that they're just going to turn to the more traditional avenues to get nicotine, smoking and chewing? How will the addiction part of this be treated now that so many kids maybe are dealing with it?
I think that is a critical point here. And we have many addiction, smoking cessation programs that actually work. And that's where we need to focus our attention. And let me be clear, vaping is not a smoking cessation program. People have maybe tried to make that justification. It is not a recognized smoking cessation program, but we do have many of those that work. And those are free for folks who also cannot afford those programs. So there are the tools available to help anyone who is suffering from a nicotine addiction get off of that nicotine addiction without resorting to dangerous vaping products, which, by the way, one of the issues is those ingredients are heated to 450 degrees. These ingredients may be safe in and of themselves, but we know that there are chemical reactions when you heat an ingredient to 450 degrees, and that is part of the problem with these vapes as well.
All programs cost money. So funding the education curriculum, funding the smoking cessation or nicotine, addiction treatment, how can those things be paid for?
Well, there is an avenue to pay for those, and it's called the tobacco settlement money, which continues to come into the state of Minnesota, about $15 million a year. And of course, we're behind about $30 million because in that change of ownership from Philip Morris to Altria, they didn't pay for 2 years until the court said, oh yes, you are on the hook for this. So there is money there. It's important for us as policymakers. It's important for constituents across our state to make the point that this tobacco settlement money must be channeled and used to help those who are already addicted to these highly addicted, unsafe vaping products and smoking cessation in general.
Now, as I mentioned in the intro, this has bipartisan support. Do you expect easy movement through the legislature come February?
Yes. Well, yes, you're right. There's great bipartisan support. The press conference that we held last week was both bicameral and bipartisan, two things you need if you're going to move something forward. But even though this is a pressing public safety issue, and there's great concern, there's bipartisan, bicameral support, nothing is easy in the legislature. I've been around long enough to know that. There are always bastions of non-support. Maybe they have other ideas, or perhaps they're just unaware. And so, no, it will not be easy. But I'm confident with the support of Minnesotans across this state who are concerned about the rising vaping epidemic, our next generation of kids, addiction in general, tobacco in general. I believe we can get this across the finish line. Both things, Tobacco 21, which will reduce vaping by 25%. We know that 95% of addicted smokers started before the age of 21. So if we get Tobacco 21 and we remove kid-flavored vapes and then have this prevention in our schools, I think we can turn this around.
Senator Carla Nelson, thank you.